Hi all, welcome to the channel. So today we will be learning about castling. Okay, so let us create the board. Let me set up the board. It's a kind of imaginary position. Okay, I'll just remove the pawns from here. Okay, so the first rule for the castling is there should not be any direct attack on the king. That means there should not be any check for the particular king. Okay, this is the first rule. For if there is a check, one cannot do the castling. So the second rule is that there should be no pieces in these two positions. And the square between the king and the rook should be open. Okay, this castling is called king side castling, and always remember the first piece that is to be moved is king. Okay, let's say this is a position here of the king and the rook. Okay, so first piece that is to be moved is the king. Okay, no matter, there are two types of castling basically. Let me clear the board to show different types of castling. So one on the queen side, that means you can see three squares here. Okay, so castling on this particular side is called queen side castling or a long castling, and the castling on this side is called short castling. Sorry, I just removed the piece king from the board. So castling in this side is called king side castling. Okay, no matter which side of the castling, king always moves two square from the current position. Let's say the white want to make the king side castling, so I'll bring this king to this particular square. Okay, now it is a king side castling. Let me arrange the board again to show you queen side castling. Even on the queen side castling, the king moves two square away from the original position, but there is a small difference here. Rook will come three positions from the original position, three square from the original position. So this is queen side castling. Again the king went. I am using this editor here. Okay, so let's see what are the other steps to be followed while doing the castling. As I informed you before, there should not be any check. Now the white cannot do the castling. Okay, let's say, and second thing is that there should not be any piece between the king and the rook. Okay, so these are two conditions. The third condition is that let's say this particular queen is here. Okay, it has eye on all these squares. These squares are important for the king side castling. As there is an attack on this particular square, the white cannot do the king side castling. Not even this particular square, any of these two squares. Let's say let us imagine the rook is placed here. Okay, so now white cannot do the castling on any of on the king side castling is not possible now, but the queen side castling is possible because there is no attack in between the path. So let's say this is a third rule basically. So first rule is that there should not be any check, that means direct attack from the queen. Okay, second rule is that there should be no pieces in between these square, own pieces, our white own pieces. Third thing is that the opponent should not have any attack on this particular line. That means the square where this king gonna move, there should not be any attack. Let's say I place my rook, the queen here. Okay, there is the attack on this particular rook. Okay, if I place the queen here, there is the attack on this rook. Okay, so this is not the square where this king is gonna move. Okay, this is not the square. This attacking area is not the square where this particular king is going to move. Okay, there was some shuffle in the pieces. Please wait. Yeah, so now I can do the king side castling. because the square where the king is gonna move, there is no attack. Okay, I can do the castling, so I have done the castling. Okay, now let's say the queen is here, so can I do the king side castling? No, because there is the attack on this particular square. Okay, so if you concentrate on these things, okay, you can do the castling is mostly done because mainly because of the rook connectivity. Okay, so one side can be protected by the king, and one more side you can use it for attack all the pieces basically. Okay, so due to many reasons, castling is very helpful in the game, but while doing the castling, the situation in the game should also be considered. Castling is not must, but based on the situation of the game, castling should be done. In any situation of the game, either the king or the rook should not be moved. Okay, let's say there is a check like this, like this. Okay, consider this as an imaginary position. There is no rook at this point. Okay, let's say king has gone a step ahead. Okay, because there was a check. Okay, so now let's say the black has moved the rook, the queen to this particular square. Okay, now the king cannot come back and do this castling because there was a movement in the king. Okay, if there is a movement in the king at any point of the game, the white king will not be able to do the castling. Okay, let's say the white king has moved to any of these squares during any situation of the game. Okay, now there cannot be castling done by this white player. Okay, it even goes same with the rook. Okay, let's say this particular rook has gone to travel to any of this h4, h3 basically. Let's not go to h4 because there is the attack of the queen. Now white cannot castle on the king side, only on the king side. Okay, let me remove this queen as of now. Let me place it here. Okay, now let's say the rook has gone to this particular h3 square and has come back to h1 again. Now since there was a movement of the rook, the white cannot do the king side castling. Okay, but this rook is intact to that particular place and there is no king movement. Okay, now this side castling can be done, queen side or the long castling can be done. Okay, now let's take one more example. Let me remove this pawn from here. Okay, now let's say this was a position. Let us imagine this position because we want to learn the castling. This might not be the real position in the game. Okay, this particular rook has gone to a4. Okay, during some situations in the game and has come back to a1. Okay, now white cannot do the queen side castling because there was a movement with this particular rook. So white cannot do the queen side castling, but this rook was here itself, h1. So white can do the king side castling. Okay, let's say both rook had made some movement during the game and have come back to their original position. Okay, now the white player cannot do castling on either of the side. Okay, so one more last rule to be remembered is that there should not be movement of the king. If there is a movement of the king, the white player cannot castle on any of the side. Let's say there was a movement of this particular rook, then the king cannot castle on the king side because king side rook is already been moved. Okay, so let's say, but the king can castle on the queen side. Okay, now let's say queen side rook has been moved. Okay, now the king cannot castle on the queen side. If both the rooks are moved during some situation of the game and they have come back to their original position, the king cannot castle on either of the side. Thank you. Please do like and subscribe.